Hey guys, this is Static with another review today. Today we are doing the new Marvel Legends, I believe it's Series 2, Fantomex figure. So here's a close-up of his head sculpt, like I usually do. And yeah, it's pretty nice sculpt. One thing I would change is probably his eyes. I don't really like the way they look, particularly, but it's alright. It's a pretty good sculpt for what Fantomex is. So yeah, that's pretty much all you would need on a Fantomex figure. Anyway, so this is the figure in its whole. Here's a view of his entire body. Zoom in a little bit, let you get a nice look, and I'll turn him around. So there's the side. So this figure is pretty nice, although as you can see I have him sort of leaning back on his trench coat. And there is a reason for that, which I will get into once I talk about the sculpt of this figure. After this shot I will talk about that. So, alright, as is the problem with many figures, this one sort of has a problem standing on his own. Probably because he's sort of off-balanced with the coat. But yeah, you can't really leave him on his own, no matter how you put the legs. You know, it's not like... Yeah, for what I'm doing, I usually just have him sort of leaning back on his trench coat, which actually doesn't look as bad as you would think. But anyway, you know, that's always a bad thing for figures when they can't stand, especially when you want to use them for display. But yeah, other than that, I only have one other gripe with the sculpt, and that is his neck. So if you look at this figure, sort of, I'll take off his coat a little bit, his neck sort of, like, if you get a full shot here, his neck sort of goes forward by itself, which sort of looks like hunchbacky. So it looks a little bit weird when he's standing normally, but when you lean him back like this, like I said, he actually looks quite nice with it. So yeah, that's not so bad for what I'm using him for, but, you know, I can see people having problems with that, rightfully so. But, alright, so now let's get into these guns. So these guns are pretty sweet. They're a little bit big. I don't like how clunky and large they look, but it's alright. And they are all painted silver. It's the same color. I'm only going to show one of his guns because they're both the same. Now, here's another problem I have with this figure. This hand, maybe not so much. Oh, ooh. It's not bad, actually. Alright, so this hand, as you can see, is pretty good. Holds it fairly well. I mean, he doesn't exactly point it straight, and if you want to have him, like, face straight on, you can't really do that unless you're, like, pushing it forward. So as you can see, it goes straight back. You'll have to take off his jacket for that, which really loses some of the effect of Fantomex. So yeah, that hand, perfectly fine. This hand, on the other hand, didn't even try for that. You can't really have him hold it comfortably at all. He's sort of like holding it too far down, and if you have him straighten his arm out, he's just like... That's the problem with Marvel Legends figures. They used to have that, and it looks like they didn't really fix it this time, which is kind of sad to see, but it's okay. It's just that, you know, you can't really have him pose with these guns, which is a very important part of Fantomex as a character. Sort of his main thing is his pistols. So, yeah, kind of poor sculpting right there, but that's alright. Like I said, I actually didn't know that about the other hand because I hadn't tried to pose this gun in both hands, but yeah, his other hand actually holds it fine, so if you're looking to pose him with one gun, that shouldn't be too big of a problem. But if you want to pose him with both, which is sort of what I was planning to do when I bought him, you can't really do that. Alright, now let's get into a paint job quickly, as we're at 5 minutes here. I didn't mean to go this long. Alright, so the paint is so great on this guy. So, yeah, the white is really, really nice. Not too shiny, not too flat, especially on his body. On his coat, it sort of looks like painty, if you know what I mean, like wall-type paint, the paint that's used on homes and things like that. Like, it looks a little bit clunky and sloppy, but on his body, it's so crisp and clean and perfect and shiny. And the black is really awesome, too. It's sort of stands out from the white, which is sort of what they were going with, I'm assuming. It's really, really cool. I really like how the black stands out and pops so much, and even the red on his belt, really just perfect. Goes along with it extremely well. So yeah, painting I would give a 10 out of 10, or maybe a 9 out of 10 because of the jacket. And the face, the eyes, which I'm not sure if that's a sculpting problem or a paint problem. Looks like a little bit of both. And the sculpt I'm going to give a 7 out of 10. Only because, you know, I wish he could stand on his own, and I wish he could hold his guns, and, again, that eye problem. But for a total for the figure, I'm going to give him a solid 7.5, or maybe even 8 out of 10. So let's give him an 8 out of 10 for Fantomex. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Hey again, guys, I just forgot one thing about this figure, which is to mention his articulation. So he's got basic Marvel Legends articulation, and for those of you who don't know, they have double joints on their elbows and on their knees, so they have a lot of posability, and he's also got an ab crunch and a hip swivel and a full 360 neck. Arms, got this on his wrist, and on his other wrist, of course. Boot, they've got the same one, or it's in the same thing. So he's got that, and his leg, I really don't like this in figures. They've got the ball joint type thing, and for whatever reason, I hate the ball joint, because I want to be able to move up and then down and then side and side, but for this you have to sort of twist his leg a little bit to move it. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of the ball joint, but that's alright. What I would prefer that they would do is something like this in DC Universe Classics, which is they have this sort of cutout right here, where you can bend it sideways, and then you can also move it forward like this. So you can move it forward and then sideways, however you want. So yeah, I really prefer that articulation, but for whatever reason they don't do that in Marvel Legends. But yeah, so that's the articulation of this figure, and thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time for real.